Have you guys seen esports and the E-League?
I don't know if that's sports.
But
It's great
asking
mind savvy.
But I don't know if athlete is the right word that I would go for.
If you don't break a sweat, I don't consider it a sport.
No, you do. Watching people play video games isn't like watching people play football. It's like watching people play fantasy football. It is one more step removed from human activity. You understand?
It's video games. It shouldn't be on a sports network. It's video games.
But can it truly be a spectator sport?
It already is. 71 million watched it last year. They reckon it's going to, by 2017, it'll be 145 million people watching it.
They're actually giving college scholarships for
Video
gaming.
You're kidding.
And it's even gone to the point that now the government has acknowledged professional video gamers as athletes.
Same way you watch a football match, you can hear the crowd, everyone's cheering the team on, you make friends, these are people you talk to, you play with online. It's all about community, it's being part of something that you're incredibly passionate about.
Running for Merritt right now, trying to establish vision control and force Ambition steals the Elder Dragon! He gets away! He survives! This is a 4-Drake Elder Dragon! He lives! Ambition saves the game once again!
Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us today. It's just a thrill to be back in the film room with so many great administrators and coaches and professionals in this industry. My name is Ben Hack. I'm actually a Herf Jones, called a Varsity Brands employee because I represent a lot of different facets of our company. When I'm not working with Herf Jones, I actually work on the BSN side as your official esports consultant. And we are quickly and rapidly growing this category in an effort to continue to connect to all students, not just the ones that perform on a traditional field where there's turf and sand, but this is the virtual field where they also pour energy and excitement into their schools. Just a few quick hitters I want to give you from 2022 already. The global audience is expected to grow another 8.7% to over 500 million viewers. With those that are actually participating, accounting for about 261 million people. And then those that call themselves casual viewers are accounting for another 271 million, which is just staggering to me. So in relation to that, we understand that as questions keep coming your way, we have to be cognizant of how to support coaches and support administrators and support parents and support students that want to grow these programs. So that's why we brought in the pros from HSEL and Generation Esports to help talk about the STEM, the STEM fields, the CTE relations that go on with esports. So I'm very excited to introduce Mike Watson and Chris Shima. Waving on the camera here. So they're going to help us get into some of this today. Mike is a veteran from the English teaching space. So there's a connection there. My wife was an English teacher for 7 years. So I understand how that's hard at a high school level with so many learning backgrounds for the kids, but he's now bridging that experience into esports to help educate. And then Chris has been in the space for as an educator for over 18 years. He brings a lot of experience to not only the high school mentality, but the coaching mentality and how to support programs and grow programs and educate those that might feel a little lost in a category that is so new and is growing so quickly. So without further ado, I'd love for them to take the stage here and help educate us all, and we can learn a little bit more together. And I really appreciate everybody being on the call, and especially for Mike and Chris to get us kicked off. So thank you guys so much for being here.
Appreciate it. Thank you for that great introduction. We're really excited that so many of you are here to learn about esports. Like you said, it's a growing industry, and it's growing in the Scholastic space like crazy. So we're really excited you're all here to learn. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to just take you through a few things about starting an esports club and how to even pull esports into your curriculum in the classroom as well. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. And so we are Generation Esports. We started as just the High School Esports League, and I'll talk more about that in just a little bit. But we have grown, and we're in more than just the high school space. We changed our name to reflect that. So this is what we're going to talk about on this presentation today. So I'm going to start and talk to you about the benefits of an esports program for the students themselves. And then I'll also tell you how to start your esports program. Like he said, I'm a former teacher. I'm actually had an esports program myself as well, so I know how to start an esports program because I did it. And then how to compete with us, either through HSEL or the Middle School Esports League. And then I'll pass it over to Chris Shima. He's going to talk about more the esports, how to bring that into the classroom, how to bring video games and harness that interest, and really show off a really awesome curriculum that we offer called Gaming Concepts, and even let you in on this awesome learning management system that we can offer called Game Plan to kind of execute all of that. Like Ben said, I did teach English for about 5.5 years, and at Blue Valley Southwest, which, by the way, I'm going to get that out of there. At Blue Valley Southwest, the Timberwolves, that's where I was an esports coach. That's what this is here. And we were the most winningest team in HSEL from Kansas. We made the playoffs every year that we were involved, and we were the Valorant champions for one season. And then I've been with Generation Esports since December. I just wanted to kind of harness this power full time and dedicate all my energy to it. And I do really have a passion for reaching every student in the school. And that brings me to that passion, brings me to some of the benefits of esports. So this is actually a video from my club. Our club president put this video together to kind of like promote the club during some of the video things we showed at school. Kind of the origins of our story is that a group of students were not engaged in school. They just didn't like school, but they liked video games. They approached me about forming a video game club. They wanted to play Rainbow Six Siege. I knew I had to say yes to them, but I wanted to expand it to more than just that game, and that's where HSEL came in. And a few years later, we made this video after we had our lab set up, and I'm just going to share this with you real quick.
I'm able to find people that I could just talk to about games that I'm passionate about.
I met a lot of really great people here.
It's connected me with a lot of people, like gamers who I probably wouldn't have been connected with otherwise.
Just like one person, and then after another, just kind of gains.
It's allowed me to meet a lot of people who I wouldn't have been able to meet anyway. I came in as a freshman and got introduced to some upperclassmen that I definitely would have never talked to without.
Freshman year, I moved here to this district, and it's like, you know, moving to a school of 1,500 kids is really hard to fit in, especially when your class is almost 400. Being part of the esports club has introduced me to more people who have the same interests as me.
Like at first it gave me a place to go because I'm not very good at making friends, so coming here during lunch and stuff like that, it felt like shelter, and with so many people to just be with you, it's really nice.
It's like, it was really nice being able to come to these events and meet new people that have now become pretty good friends of mine, and be able to better relationships as well because of video games. They can even like help me with like homework and stuff, and like we can do like study sessions and stuff, so it's just a really great group of people.
There's great people, you'll find them.
So the thing that they said more than once there at the very end was great people, that they were connecting with people. These were students that didn't have a connection before, and they found that connection at school through our esports club. So we're really proud of that. Go ahead and move on from this slide. So some of the student benefits of esports, this is just for competing in the competitive side of it. It's the same as any benefits from any other sport. So learning teamwork, learning how to solve problems, communicating with others in an effective way, having leadership opportunities, building a sense of community, like the student said in the video, learning sportsmanship, how to compete and do it in a positive way, and learning responsibility to be on a team, to show up when you're supposed to, pull your own weight. These are simply the benefits of the competitive side of esports. There's all sorts of other benefits as well, and some of those include things for the school. So one of the best things about esports and video game clubs is connecting with high-risk students. A lot of times students that are involved with esports are not involved with anything else. It's the only thing that would be tethering them to the school. It reaches students that typically have low attendance. Now they have a reason to come to school. And students that have that low self-esteem and that self-efficacy, you can see students, I won't tell you who, but somebody from that video turned into this amazing person who ended up getting an esports scholarship, full ride. And they started as very, very shy. So success stories are real. Besides that, you can get college scholarships as well. HSEL, our High School Esports League, the students that win all that, they earn scholarship money. It goes towards college. It's not just cash, it's scholarship money. And then colleges and universities, they're rapidly adopting esports programs. They are giving out full rides left and right. A lot of colleges now have esports teams that they're recruiting for. So one thing that some teachers and educators can have when they start an esports program is, I don't know anything about these games. How am I going to coach my students? So you can think of yourself less as a coach and more of a general manager. So gaming knowledge, knowing these games is helpful, but you don't have to have it. Like, I know about some of the games that I helped coach, but I didn't know anything about Rainbow Six or Valorant, and our Valorant students are the ones that won. I coach them on things like productive communication, having that mental fortitude to keep going when you're losing, digital citizenship, teamwork, leadership, and even like healthy habits, screen time, staying hydrated, exercising. We'll get more into that when we talk about our curriculum as well. So I'm going to quickly take you through what it looks like to start an esports club at your school. Because like I said, I've done it. I have firsthand experience. So the first thing you want to do is think about actually forming the club. Create the club in your school. And then answer these questions. Is your team going to practice on campus? Are they going to compete on campus? Somewhere else, maybe at a lab at a district level, or maybe even from their students' homes. My successful program, for the first few years, the students competed from home. And we only got those Nintendo Switches you saw about our third year. If you are going to compete on campus, what equipment are you going to have your students play on? Do you have a really awesome computer lab already? Do you have the funds to get a computer lab? Shima will talk to you more about that. And what games are your students interested in playing? Do you have a dedicated, maybe a group of 5 students is already playing something? And maybe that can be sort of like where you jump off from. And then who's going to pay your dues to play in HSEL or MSEL? Is that going to be something the students do? Is it going to be something that your school does? We also, with Gaming Concepts, we offer bundles to cover your HSEL dues. So stay tuned for that. And then finally, you want to actually start getting those students involved. So figure out how many students are actually interested in this. You'll probably find that a big chunk of your students are. What games are they interested in? And maybe have just like an informal meeting to get some of these questions answered from your students. And then a couple months prior to the first competition, so maybe like the spring before, or if you're going to do it in the spring, maybe make this start happening in September or October. You want to build your leadership team. Are you going to have other roles in your club? Things like team managers. Are you going to have other sponsors involved? Maybe bring some dedicated coaches, somebody that's really good at Valorant, bring them in. Are you going to designate a student leadership team? You know, president, vice president, treasurer, things like that. And then start reviewing some of the resources that we offer on our website, on our help site. We have some really awesome things. They're, like it says there, you can edit them to fit your club's needs. These are all Google Docs that we can share with you. Just make a copy of it. We have club meeting templates, student engagement surveys, finding out what games they're interested in, parent forms. You can check our help site or reach out to me or Shima or anybody on the success team, and we can get those to you. And so that way you don't have to start from scratch. And those actually come from my school, where we brought those over. And then build the online presence for your club as well. So do you use an LMS, maybe Google Classroom or Canvas? Create an esports classroom on there. We also suggest creating a Discord to communicate with your team. Students are already on Discord, I promise. It's the best way for gamers to communicate with each other. I recommend having that for your team, and even create some social media accounts for your club as well to start sharing out your matches, sharing out your victories, things of that nature. And then a few weeks before the first week of competition in one of our majors, this is when you really want to start getting your students like signed up and stuff. So I would host a formal informational meeting. By the way, one of the templates we have is a informational meeting template, which can take students through all this stuff. Again, don't start from scratch. We have really awesome resources. You can have your students sign up for HSEL. You can have them create their game connections there. And again, if that seems like an overwhelming process, that's what I'm here to help you with as a success agent. You can have your students create their rosters. You can purchase your battle passes, which again, come with a Gaming Concepts bundle. You can get those covered and finally register all your rosters for the next major tournament. So on our platform, on the Generation Esports platform, that's where you're going to organize your team and manage it. Again, we're here to help you with all of that. It can be like a little like, oh, there's a lot to click on here at first, but we can help you through that. And then the 2 weeks before one of our majors, that's when the preseason starts. That's where you can play a game without it affecting your record, to kind of get used to our matchmaking system and to make sure all the students everything's working correctly. And then finally, after that, it's time to rip the Band-Aid off and play your first regular season match and see how your students do. So that was a very quick overview. We can take you through all of that in a much deeper and more detailed way if you set up a call with either of us or one of the success agent in your area. But this is what it looks like for a year in HSEL, and MSEL looks just like that. We have 2 major tournaments, one in the fall and one in the spring. And so each roster that's playing a certain game, they play 1 match per week for 8 weeks. That's the regular season. You can see how that's kind of laid out and color coded there. This is the calendar for this fall that you're looking at. And then playoffs and championships are played out over the next 2 weeks. So we have a fall and a spring major. We also have a summer open that's going on right now, so your students can stay engaged and keep earning scholarship money over the summer as well. So you'll see that registration opens August 1st for this fall. So you still have some time to start putting some plans together. So the one thing that we have created that we're really proud of is that platform, the Generation Esports platform, where all of this is hosted. We call it our one-stop solution for esports club management and league operations. For more than just Scholastic leagues, we're in the wider esports space as well now, but HSEL is our home. And we're really excited this fall. We're also going to have some AI-driven content creation and distribution through something called wizard.io, and we're really excited about that. So this is just a preview of what the platform looks like. This is actually on one of our tournament pages. So this, after you've created your team and created your rosters, you would register here on this page. You can kind of lay some information out there. You can get a preview of what the left side looks like as well. Your students will actually join their games in the matchmaking from their dashboard. They set their games up in the Connect Games tab. The team management page is right there in Teams. And then below that, that's where you can join the HSEL community, start joining tournaments, and even go through some of the quests and challenges, which I'll talk about in just a second. So we're really proud of the platform. Some things that set us apart that other esports platforms, don't offer is the thing we're super proud of is the queue system. So one problem that a lot of esports tournaments face is the problem of forfeits. Because a lot of this happens online, you get a game scheduled and then your opponent doesn't show up, and then you have to win by forfeit, and that's not fun for anyone. Our queue system, the way it works is teams have to say that they're ready before everyone has to log in, say they're ready before they can even join the matchmaking. And that means you're only going to get matched up with other teams that are also ready. And what that's done is that's brought our forfeit rate down to less than 5% for our majors tournaments. And that's really awesome because it's a much higher in most other tournaments. So that headache of forfeits is out the window, and we're really proud of that. It's also skill-based matchmaking using tournament standing, and we're really proud of that. Another thing we offer is quests. So just for being active on our platform, for competing in games, setting your teams up, you're completing quests, and that can enter you into drawings for prizes, kind of like it's a passive thing just for participating as well. So the last thing I'm going to show you is a video of our queue system, the thing I was just talking about. So this is what it looks like for students on game day when they're getting matched up against another school. I'm going to play this at just like 1.25 speed.
In order to queue for any team-based game, find your match under today's playtimes and select Join Party. This will bring up the Generation Esports Party window. Here you can see the current members online, how many members you need to join the queue, as well as when the current queue opens, and then any party chat that has occurred. Once the 5-minute queue window opens, a timer will appear showing when the queue closes. At the top, it'll also say, queuing ready, not in queue. This means that you have yet to fulfill the members requirement shown on the left-hand column. Once the members requirement has been fulfilled, your roster will automatically enter the queue. You can see this change reflected at the top right of the party window, which now says in queue. Once the timer reaches 0, the party will lock, and both your roster and matched opponent will be taken to the same match page. Both teams will need to utilize the match chat function on the right-hand side of the match page in order to communicate setting up a custom lobby. The team who will set up the custom lobby is the home team, which is designated by our platform and is shown at the top of the match page. Once the custom lobby is set up, please utilize the participants list at the bottom of the match page and take note of the game names. This will be used to cross-reference what you see in-game to ensure that the game names or gamer tags of all players match what is on the match page. At the end of the game, the winning team will come back and report the score and hit Submit. Once the match results are submitted, the match is officially over. You can find match results by going to the dashboard and checking on match history.
All right, so that is our queue system. I see one question here: is individual player stat tracking, or is there a place that players can do that? The only stats we track are for the overall team and for the rosters on that team. That's something you can definitely show off using your social media, but that's not something that's tracked on the platform. That would take us using APIs for every game, and we're not quite there, but we do track stats for teams and rosters. So now what I'm going to do is in just a moment going to pass it over to Chris Shima. So I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen right now. What he's going to do is he's going to talk to you more about how to bring esports and video games into the classroom and some really exciting ways that we offer that. And I work really closely with Chris Shima, and I really enjoy my time with him. So I'm going to let him take it away.
Hey everybody, how are you? Hope you can all see my screen. I am going to go over what I think is the real foundation for esports programs when we're talking about Scholastic esports for middle school and high school, and that's the curriculum piece and the educational opportunities that are there. For many schools, they're going to start off just like Michael was talking about, with a club or a team that you're going to play after school, but that's just scratching the surface of what schools all across the country are starting to do and see as far as positive results with esports at their campus. So I could just briefly touch on the esports industry. For those of you that might be in the audience that might be a little less initiated with the industry, it is the fastest growing sport in the world. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and as educators, we need to know that because we're talking with high schoolers that might be thinking about doing a career path in esports, maybe not necessarily as a professional gamer, but somewhere in the industry. Like, for example, if you look at this picture that's on the screen right now, how many jobs do you see in that screen? Okay, yeah, there's the gamers that are on the stage, but there's also the graphic designers, there's the set designers, the lighting designers, the production team, the people running statistics, the legal, all of those pieces that are part of an industry. Just like you would think of the NBA, it's much more than the players that are just on the court, it's the entire industry. So colleges are recognizing that too as well, and that's when we talk about scholarships for esports. It's not just being a player, because colleges need students to be able to help grow their entire esports program on their university campus, and that involves, again, advertising, marketing, promotions, stat tracking, all of those things that are such wonderful opportunities for students to, from their talents they might be getting from other interests in learning. And so we want to support that as a company. The career opportunities really are plentiful, and when you look at it from that aspect as an educator, you're like, wow, okay, now I'm starting to see the opportunity here for for learning for the kids. But know that curriculum is, yes, we can talk about teaching esports concepts and web design and graphic design as it applies to esports, but really there's a deeper need that's being met here with schools that are adopting esports centric curriculum. And it reminded me of a PD day. For those of you that may not be teachers on this call, it's a professional development day where just the teachers go to the school, right? And my principal called all the teachers into the classroom, and I was sitting there with them. This was 2015 now, and he said, all right, you guys, I want you to think out of the box. We're seeing some issues here around the campus. We want to figure out some creative ways to be able to address them. One of them was attendance. How do we get kids to school on time and keep them there all day, particularly maybe some juniors or seniors that might stray at lunchtime and not quite come back. The other piece is the academic motivation, which, particularly for those underrepresented kids, the ones that are not playing on a basketball team or volleyball team or part of the band or the theater program. Like, what do we have for those kids at our campus to be able to get them to feel like there's a place for them and that they can continue to do well across all of their classes in order to continue participating in these extracurriculars. And then the last piece was the mental health piece. Now, back in 2015, sure, we were talking about that. I mean, we were offering opportunities and initiatives there in mental health, but it's not anything like it is now coming out of the pandemic for a lot of school districts. That's their number one initiative that they're going to be implementing either now or this coming fall, where it's like, how can we address student mental health? So picture this now. I'm sitting in this meeting and I'm kind of going, I think I'm doing this already, because I had a group of kids that were coming into my classrooms and, Shima, can we play some games in your room after school? And I'm like, yeah, come on in, play some games. And when I'm done wrapping up my day, I'll join you. There's this really great game called Hearthstone that just came out. I was back then, I was like, I want to show you this. Oh, how sweet. And that grew from like, we were doing, Heroes of the Storm, StarCraft 2, that got into Overwatch, and it continued to grow. And these were exactly the kids that we were talking about, the ones that didn't have the best grades, the ones that didn't have the best attendance. They didn't have a place for them on their school. And that video that Michael showed you earlier about the testimonial from his own kids, like those stories you're going to hear across the country of why kids are so excited about having an esports program, because now they feel like there's something that's there that the school is offering for them. And I certainly saw that, and to the point where I had teachers coming into my room going, Shima, I don't know what you're doing with that whole video game thing after school, but I got to say, you're getting kids to school that didn't have the best track record before. Because I had one requirement. It was like, hey, if you guys are going to come play games in my room after school, you got to be at school all day. Is that a deal? And they're like, all right, that's a deal. And so the teachers were noticing that, going, I noticed you're here all day. And they're like, yeah, Shima says I have to be here all day in order to play games in his room after school. I'm like, okay, cool. Can I teach you some science today while you're here? They're like, yeah, okay, that's fine. And so it was really addressing those needs just very organically. And that was really awesome. Even my principal was like, this is fantastic, the results that we're seeing, and this excitement that it's bringing for those particular cohort of kids, those ones we're always talking about as educators, in our PD, how do we reach these kids? And it's like, look, we're always saying, like, let's meet kids where they are, where they're playing games. So how can we leverage that excitement into our educational system during the school day? Now, take my story, take Michael's story, and multiply it thousands of times across the country. And that's where Generation Esports was hearing that from educators, saying, how can we take the excitement and the engagement that we're seeing with our esports programs after school and bring them into the school day, during school, like maybe a part of the CTE or a STEM pathway? And so it just so happened that there were a couple of educators out in the Wichita, Kansas school district, one of the top 100 largest school districts in the country, that were developing a curriculum to meet exactly that need, because they were like, hey, we would also like to have an esports curriculum to meet the needs of some of the kids and the interest level that was there. And there wasn't one that existed at that time. So they're like, I think we just need to write this. And they wrote the curriculum. Dr. Christy Custer, a former principal for over 20 years, principal of the year, Dr. Michael Russell, veteran CTE teacher and big time gamer, worked together to develop this level 1 course. Microsoft actually sponsored the first draft of it. They were really excited about what it could bring. They brought on Dr. Chris Jensen, who is a former ER physician turned science teacher, who said, like, what a fantastic vehicle to be able to bring in mental health lessons to really benefit the kids in the areas of perseverance, overcoming adversity, good communication skills, how to deal with toxicity online, and really giving them those soft skills that we would like to have the kids have when they're going into the college and career. The curriculum has been part of a national study that we've been conducting, or we're just wrapping up across the country with schools that have been using it. And the preliminary data that's been coming out of that study has been really encouraging to see, because we've been seeing those bumps in GPA. We've been seeing those bumps in attendance and in overall student engagement, particularly, again, for those cohorts that we're always concerned about. It was really written to have a lot of flexibility built in. Teachers with different teaching backgrounds, whether it's science or English, are going to feel very comfortable with a lot of the lessons that are part of this curriculum, where they feel like, hey, I could teach a course like this. I have stuff to say about that. Because really what it does is it takes the best of, say, a health class. So like healthy habits, time management, how do you balance your school life with your gaming life and do that really well? Good communication. It takes the best of a PE class, so like good sportsmanship, strategy, teamwork, perseverance, and then the best of a STEM or a CTE class, where it's like you're talking about career pathways in esports beyond just being a professional gamer, shoutcasting, other opportunities there, how to research those jobs and opportunities, and then like even building a gaming PC and what's involved in that. Because I can't tell you, I would have students come into my class all the time saying, Shima, just got a really good gaming PC. It's like overclocked 3.6 gigahertz, and I'm excited. And I'm like, hey, that sounds great. Do you even know what it means to overclock your computer? And they're like, no, but I know it's really good. And it's like, yes, it is really good, but let's actually talk about what that means and how you can do it without frying your processor, right? So having those types of opportunities, even like the sliders in the games that we all like to play, like Fortnite or Valorant, that when you go into the settings, like what are those sliders actually doing behind the scenes when you're adjusting those, a lot of kids fiddle with them, but they don't actually really understand what's going on there. So really great teaching opportunities to be able to work in that space and have the kids go like, oh, this is really cool. These are some of the lessons that are in the teacher's edition that you're looking at right now. It'll look very familiar for any educators ever looked at a teacher's edition before. It's like, there's my lesson overview. There's the standards it's tied to. Here's the materials I need, and here's how I break out a class session. Awesome. In addition to that, there's like mental health moments that are sprinkled in here. Like, for example, here's a lesson on basic troubleshooting of technology. And then once you've gone through those processes and you talk about how to eliminate all of the possibilities to find out what might be causing the problem in the code or in why your computer's freezing up, it's like, hey, how can we take that same process and apply it to life, right? Where instead of your computer freezing up, your life freezes up. I had a student one time tell me a couple of years ago, I was like, Shima, it's kind of like if you do a Control-Alt-Delete on your life and you can bring up the task manager and see all the stuff that you have on your plate, right? Sometimes we have to do that even as adults. It's like, wow, I have a lot on my plate and some of these things are like frozen up. It's causing my performance to lag, right? And we have to take stock of that a lot of times as human beings. So like, hey, how can we make my life run a little bit more efficiently so I'm not so overwhelmed or I'm not so stressed out? The level 1 course can be broken out a lot of different ways. These are just 2 examples as a semester course or even as a year-long course. But one thing that you need to know is that every class session is designed for the students to be able to have a session of purposeful play with the games, where they get to play the games in the class every time they come in. Because the last thing that we want to do is offer a class on esports and then tell the kids, oh, sorry, we're just going to talk about the games. In theory, we're not going to actually get to play them. It's like, no, they actually get to play the games. It is a STEM accredited course. That's a big checkbox for administrators that might be looking to adopt curriculum. It's like, where'd you get this curriculum? It's like, no, it's been peer reviewed, STEM accredited. We just released our level 2 course just last month. This is a full year-long high school course that hits all the subjects that I used to teach as a teacher: graphic design, video editing, coding, web design, and wraps it up in that esports world. And it's really, really well done. In addition to that, we have some courses that we're developing that are going to be released over the next year, one particularly targeting for middle school, another for specifically for streaming and shoutcasting, cybersecurity, and then we have a full gaming concepts 3 course also going to be coming out for the following school year. So we're really trying to create a wonderful pathway for kids to start as early as middle school and go all the way through high school. Like, here's an example of what a student can create, and one of my students actually created this for our team in using Photoshop. And part of my graphic design, it's like, hey, can you do something that could be a social media ad that we can put on the school website to promote our team? So hey, we weren't top 16 or anything in the High School Esports League, but we did pretty good, and that was something that we wanted to flaunt a little bit at our school. We played a lot of different states too during that season. That's something that no other activity was able to do at our campus. They all played other local schools in Colorado, but we're playing schools in New York, California, Florida, Texas, and that was really neat to be able to talk about that. This last little piece is really exciting. We worked with a company called Game Plan to develop an LMS platform to deliver all of our curriculum and content digitally, so it makes it really easy for teachers to be able to implement a curriculum like this, whether it's part of a full class, a class that's already being taught, like maybe a game design where you can bring in parts of it into that class, or maybe even to start just as an after-school program where you have this foundation where the kids are getting a lesson about something beyond just coming in and just playing games. And that's something that school board members, that school administration, and even parents like to hear, that it's more than just the games, that we're training the kids for something bigger. In addition to that, there is team training tools on this platform that will teach the kids exactly how to get better at games like Rocket League, like Valorant, like League of Legends. So you don't have to be the expert like Michael was saying earlier. You can just be the team manager and parse out that content to the students based on their skill level, whether they're a beginning student or a player, an advanced player, and can really move to their needs. And that's really exciting when they see who's going to be teaching them these lessons, because a lot of it is taught by professional gamers that they might even recognize from Twitch or from YouTube. And they're like, oh, that's who's going to be teaching us these strategies? Like, yeah, that's who's going to show you. They're like, oh, this is going to be great. He's really good. So it really is a win-win for schools and for the students. They're getting the skills and the concepts that we want to have them get as teachers. And as for educators, we know that, hey, if this is a STEM accredited course, standards aligned, it really hits the diversity inclusion too as well. And that's the one thing that's wonderful about esports, is it is that organically. It's nothing that needs to be forced. Kids are playing together from all different types of backgrounds. And that was totally my esports team. And I'm sure this was the same with Michael. Kids that you would never necessarily see hanging out during the school day or finding a place that's a common space that they really enjoy something to do together. And that's really wonderful to see right in front of your eyes as an educator. And frankly, even for teachers that might be on this call too, like what a great opportunity to keep you around teaching for a little bit while. If your principal came to you and said, hey, how would you like to teach a course in esports? Any teacher is going to be like, what? Yeah, that would be amazing. The kids excited every day coming into your classroom. It really is a wonderful, wonderful thing to see. For funding, Michael and I both want to know, that's usually a big question for a lot of educators, like, how do I fund something like this? And generally speaking, you can do it very cheaply, but there are opportunities for you to be able to get funding, whether it's crowdfunding, using organizations like the Varsity Esports and Fund My Team to be able to get some funding there too, to buy some new hardware. ESSER funds is a really big opportunity for educators right now to be able to fund an esports program. And I can talk to you a little bit about that if you'd like to schedule a call with us. This is an example of an esports lab that was completely funded by outside sources with by a school up in Washington that I'm dealing with. What a slick lab, right? Could you imagine building something like this on your school and the kids walk into that room going, this is our esports lab? Now, they also use this lab for like their graphic design and computer courses during the day too as well. But what a wonderful space for them. I mean, we all have that spot in high school or middle school that we remember was our favorite place to be, whether it was the band room or the theater department or the gym, right? Like this is the same thing for those students, and it's really exciting. So we're really here to support education beyond just giving a wonderful competitive opportunity for kids. We as a company also offer opportunities to give away esports labs. This is one that we're doing right now. You can see more details on it on our High School Esports League.com website or HSEL.gg. You can go to that too as well. And you can see some information about the esports contest that we're doing right now. We're giving away 25 labs that with our partners to get you started on that. So that is kind of what we have for you today. I mean, is there any questions that we can answer for you too as well? Though happy to take any questions. Michael, you're around, right? Still, I hope.
I certainly am. I was putting some links in there. So I've put a link towards, somebody asked a question about suggestions for pre-built gaming desktops. And we have a whole thing about building labs on our website with some suggestions for builds on there. So I put a link in there, and also the link that Shima was just talking about for winning an esports lab for your school. I put a link in there. It's that long one. I don't know why that URL is so long, but there it is. And so that's really awesome. We are giving away 10 labs to high schools, 5 to middle schools, and 5 to colleges. 15 to high schools, and then 5 and 5. Excuse me on that. But yeah, we're really excited about that. So a great way to jumpstart your program. Why not with an esports lab? And we offered that last year. It was really awesome. It was my colleague David said when he got to announce to the schools that they were getting a lab, it was bringing him to tears. And I can imagine that's how it's going to be this year as well. So yeah, any questions here? What is the cost per student for HSEL? There's a few different ways you can go about it. So we do have the most basic way to compete is to use an individual battle pass is what we call them, our tournament passes, and those are $40 per student. But we also have bundles where you can get an unlimited pass for just one season for as many students as you want, and that's $850. Or you can do one for an entire school. And the break-even number, once you have more than 19 students that are going to be competing, the unlimited pass for a year is the one that pays for itself, and that one is $1,500 per school. But
yeah, one thing, if I may, on that too as well, like guys, you're going to hear sometimes there are competitors out there that are running esports leagues, and one of the things that we want to do is make esports as accessible as possible for schools, and that's why we keep the cost down so low. These prices are for all of the games that we offer, not just per team per game. It is for them to be able to play everything, and in addition to that, we also have free tournaments that we offer throughout the year where kids can still earn scholarships just like they would if they were to pay, but they can participate in it absolutely free. So if you're working on a shoestring budget, you're like, my school is literally giving me $0. Can I still take my kids and compete? Yes, you can, and you can do that through the High School Esports League and the Middle School Esports League. Go ahead, Michael.
Oh, I posted the chart to our pricing. But the other thing I was going to mention when it comes to pricing is the fact that we do bundle that with gaming concepts, right? So, yeah. So if you you can purchase gaming concepts with the LMS or without it, and the passes to compete through HSEL come free with that. So I've got a few questions here. I'm catching up here. Deadline for the Esports Lab is actually the end of June, so you only have about just under 10 days. Yep. You only have about 8 days, but that's because we're going to be announcing those by before the school year. And it does come with a bit of an application process. So if you're interested in that, I would suggest getting started as soon as possible. I think it'll definitely be worth your time. Absolutely. Somebody asked, what if the city or the county doesn't support games like Valorant, Rainbow Six, Call of Duty, Fortnite because of them being a shooter? That is a question we get a lot. What I will send in just a second is a link about all the stuff debunking the connection between violent video games and real life violence. But a lot of times people they're like, I don't want to read, just tell me. I think the best thing that you can say is that these students are already playing these games. The point of esports program at a video game club is to meet students where they're at and to connect with them, right? They're already playing these games, meet them where they're at. And then I would say just use all the benefits of esports that we've talked about, reaching students that are not involved with anything else, students that typically have low GPAs, low attendance. You saw some of the results from our preliminary studies. You see a 1.5 increase in GPA, 10% increase in attendance across the board on average. And so those are meeting students where they're at. Using that data is hard to argue with, but yeah, I can share with you some articles debunking that connection as well in just a moment.
In addition to that, know that there is no requirement to be able to play those games to be part of our league. We offer plenty of games that are not that type of genre, whether it's Rocket League or chess.com or Minecraft. All of those games are, don't fall under that category. So if you feel like you might have maybe a skittish administrator or a school district where it's like, can we start off maybe with something a little more, like family friendly, I guess, for lack of a better word. It's like, yes, we have those opportunities to be able to do that. So you go at what you feel comfortable with. But like Michael said, these are the games that the kids are playing. And these are the ones that the colleges are recruiting for too as well, which is a really big point to make. It's like, oh, the colleges are recruiting for these games. It's like, yeah, that's why we offer them, because we want it to be a very smooth pathway from what they are playing in high school to be able to be recruited by colleges if they have a skill in, say Valorant or, Rainbow Six or something like that. So, but yeah.
What I love about what HSEL promotes too is not only that students can be met where they're at with the games that they're playing, but they do help educate about the benefits of the teamsmanship and the community element. But what I also love about esports is that it often ignores the club mentality as far as like a cap on rosters. You can have 200 kids that might be invested in esports and are part of that school program, that club, that team, but they all might be playing a different game. You might have 6 kids that are really into Rocket League, but then you have another 6 or 8 kids or 12 kids that are into Valorant, and then you might have another 20 kids that are playing another title that all encompass that esport team or club on your school. So when you start looking at the numbers that way and realizing that it often ignores disability, it ignores gender, it really includes all students to play. And then you have rosters that can start getting close to football size rosters because you have that many kids invested in your program. That's really exciting. I just think that's such a cool element that esports brings that a lot of other sports can't.
Absolutely.
Right. And some people have reshared some people are asking for the links again to the lab application. People are resharing those right now. I saw a longer question about some really specific questions about the curriculum that came from Taylor. I think the best way is to just schedule some time with one of us. You can go to the HSEL or the Gaming Concepts website, schedule some time with us, and we can give you all the information you need. There's definitely a way to implement it as an after school program as well. So we can tell you all about that.
Yeah,
but Shima, do you want to speak to that as well? Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, you got like the flyby, overview of everything that we offer here at our company. But know that if you go to gamingconcepts.gg or hsel.gg or msel.gg, you can book a time with us. If you're on the west side of the country, chances are you're going to get time with me specifically, and we can go specifically for your situation at your school, what your challenges are, and I can walk you through all of those steps and what's going to be a great solution for you. Michael is the support rep for that that same area too as well. So once your school gets started, whether it's in just the league or even getting started with the our LMS platform, he'll be the one to be providing a lot of support. So you'll get to work with both of us one-on-one. And if you're at any other part of the country, our representatives from those parts of the country will be able to help you out just as much. And we have such a great staff and so many educators working for us. So we understand the world of education and what some of the challenges are that you might experience too as well. We can help you overcome those because they are easy to do, but it's nice to have somebody guide you through those.
And that's our full-time job. So we want to help you. We want to help you. And I saw another question. I want to make sure I didn't forget this. So Antonio asked, and his question was answered in the chat, but I think it's worth saying out loud. He asked, can students still play from home in the next fall season? The answer to that will always be yes. We know that not every school can afford a lab, and not every school can afford that has the budget for this. So that we will never require students to compete from school, or we're not there yet. Who knows, in 10 or 15 years, maybe every school will have an esports team, just like almost every school has a baseball team. You know what I mean? Maybe then we'll start requiring that, but we're not quite there yet. Now, the benefits of having the lab on campus are obvious because the students would be together, socializing, strategizing together. That is not a requirement we have any plans to start implementing anytime soon.
And the other advantage about playing from home too, guys, is that we give that opportunity, because some kids, they may not have transportation and can't stay at school, after school. They have to get on the bus or whatever. Somebody has to come pick them. And so to be able to give them that opportunity to be able to still be a part of the team, even though they can't be on campus after school, is again, it's all about inclusivity, not exclusivity, and be able to give those. It worked great for us, obviously, during the pandemic, while all the other activities were shut down during those times. Esports was still thriving and growing because the schools can continue to have the kids play. So yes.
In the middle of the pandemic is when my team won the whole thing, won the fall major. So yeah, I can speak to that.
Convenient there, definitely. Watson.
Convenient. Yeah, I know. No, it was really great. Let's see. Please. Okay, I'm just making sure we've answered all the questions. Some people are saying, yep, they've competed with Play Versus in the past. That's another person. That's another company in the competitive esports space for Scholastic Esports. Do you have any relationship with the NFHS? We do not. We're not any official partnership. We know a lot of the people from there.
Yes.
So our strategy has never been to partner really closely with the athletic programs in each state. We want this to be because of the fact that sometimes that can be a little restricting for what games are offered and stuff like that. Instead, we're kind of like a free agent in the space, but we are still the largest one in this space. So we've found that although it's great to partner with the teachers that are involved with the NFHS, we don't have any sort of official relationship with them. I hope that answers your question.
I will say too, for anybody that's interested, most states are I would say more cognizant than ever of adopting this as a state sanctioned sport, simply by the number of students involved and the number of students that are playing without a safe place or a place to call home to actually participate. Because we have to also take into consideration that mobile gaming accounts for a large segment of students that are playing, whether that's something small or something like Hearthstone, which is also mobilely played. States are looking at this outside of the NFHS as far as sanctioning goes. So just kind of keep your ears to the ground with how fast this gets adopted, because it is getting brought up a lot on a state-by-state level all the time.
Absolutely. Great question here about the games on the website that are currently, if you're on our HSEL website or MSAL website, you're seeing the games that we're offering during our summer challenge. Yes, we have many more games beyond those. Those are just the ones that we're offering currently this summer. We are going to be announcing the fall lineup here within the next few weeks about the games that we're going to have offered. Some really cool stuff that I know Michael and I wish we could actually tell you right now on this call, but stay tuned, and you will be very excited about some of the other games on top of these ones that will be included this fall. So yeah, we really do try to do a very diverse offering of games. We're always tracking the popularity of how many teams that we get signed up for specific games. So, you know, game popularity ebbs and flows just like anything. So the ones that are real popular, obviously we're going to keep those on the platform and offer those. The ones that might start to wane or not be quite as popular, we might let those go and maybe bring in something new that might be kind of up and coming. What do you think, Michael? Did I miss anything on that?
No, I think the only thing I would add is I'm not revealing anything, but just a little inside baseball information. Most game licenses, like we have to have relationships with each one of these games. A lot of those deals renew in the summer. So you will see that some new announcements will be happening like within the next month or so. That's just because we're working behind the scenes right now to bring the most popular games, ones that will reach the most students, back to the platform. So the games that are listed on the website, those are definitely the ones that will be happening this fall, but there are some more coming that, like Shima said, we can't talk about. Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about ones we've offered even just this past semester that we, you know, aren't on our summer program. Things like Halo Infinite and Pokemon Unite, and I mean, we've offered, you know, through our youth winners circle, we've had, you know, Super Smash and Overwatch and League of Legends, and I mean, really all the ones that you're going to want to play, we have the ability to offer.
Right.
So yes.
And somebody said you mentioned a match taking place once per week. Approximately how long does one match last? We like to say offer at least an hour. I would plan an hour. So some games like Rocket League that have really fast matches will do like a best of 3 or a best of 5 situation to make it a little bit more fair play. But then there are other games like a Valorant match. You have to win by those rounds are 13 rounds long. So sometimes those just one like match will take an hour. So it just depends on the game, but allow up to an hour.
Exactly.
I'll throw one out that I thought was useful that some coaches, ADs might not know about too, is the chat mechanism for a lot of schools. If you haven't heard of Discord is a primarily voice and chat based software program that you can actually download as an app on your phone or to your desktop. It is a huge and useful method for students that are playing games to have a channel set up for them to play. So if you're looking at getting your program started or you already started your program, not only do you have admin privileges across Discord, but you can also connect with the HSEL team and Generation Esports team on Discord and become part of their coach network. So that way you can kind of stay plugged into news and announcements. So Michael and Chris, if you guys can plug that in the chat, that'd be awesome, because that's a great way to stay up on announcements, maybe matchmaking delays, things like that. I follow both of them on my personal Discord, so that way I can kind of keep myself plugged in. But it's just a huge way that the students are already participating, especially if they have a PC. I know when I play games, which is almost daily, I have my Discord on at all times, and then I can screen share what game I'm playing, or chat with different groups, or go into a different voice channel if I'm playing a different game. So it's super useful if you want to connect with them there. And then the last thing I'll say too is keep in mind your BSN pros that are already supporting you at your schools for other sports are also going to be able to help locate information for you. If it's an esports related question and they don't know the answer, that's what I'm here for. And I want to connect you guys to not only our sales pros that can help outfit you, but also connect you to HSEL Gen E at all times to just stay up on this information, have the curriculum resources that you need. And then I hope that by this becoming a regular cadence, we can also help HSEL develop even more robust outside of what they've already done, which is tremendous. But by being connected to coaches and ADs and administrators like this, we want to help fuel them with as many questions and resources as possible. So just always feel free to ask, connect with us, email, text, whatever it takes to just keep the information going, because we want to be that foundational resource for you.
And so you probably saw it, but Shima and I have both been posting some links on Ben's prompting there. So invites to the educator Discord, that's one just for the coaches. That way you can like ask questions and not have to sift through the chats in the HSEL Discord, because the HSEL Discord is like 15,000 members in it, which is awesome, but it can be a little bit harder to get your question answered sometimes. But that's a place for the students across the nation to connect on that. So that's really exciting as well. And just to plug something real quick, there is a tournament going for educators right now. That's completely free to enter, but you can win some really cool trophies for that as well through the educator Discord. It's Rocket League Doubles, and all you have to do is be an educator to do that. You don't have to have a membership with us or anything like that. So, and it's currently ongoing, but you can join at any time just to compete and see what it feels like to use our platform and stuff. So I'm running that tournament, so that's a little plug just personally from me there. But yeah, one thing that Shima posted, which is really awesome. If you're interested in the curriculum side of things or that really cool slick LMS game plan, we have a few webinars this summer. And so he just shared the schedule to that, and there's links to join the invites for those webinars as well.
Absolutely.
Somebody said, looks like they need to re-download Rocket League. That might be true. That might be true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of these games are free to play, guys, this way. So it again brings the cost down for a lot of schools to be able to get in on some of these tournaments. So yeah, take a look at those. We do provide so many educator resources on our help page. Go to any of our websites, whether it's Gaming Concepts, HSEL, go to the help page. There's a spot there for educator resources for you to find student surveys, parent consent forms, all types of different things that you can use to help get your club started, checklists and things like that. We really do want to walk you through all of the steps to be able to do it. We've been doing this for a long time, the longest actually, and we're the largest organization in the country, and there's a reason for that. So by going with us, we will take really good care of you educators. So yes.
The end of the season tournament is at LAN or online. This year, it was all been online because of like COVID concerns. But we have hosted end of the year tournaments in LANs in the past, and we plan on that coming back.
Yes.
Doesn't seem like there's any really strong variant that's peeking its head up after Omicron, but we'll keep our fingers crossed there. We had a huge plan, and we had to like kind of divert kind of last minute this year, but that is definitely coming back.
Yeah.
I did see a question too, and I wasn't sure if it was addressed. I do believe the chat transcript will be available because of all the information that was contained in here. So when we send this out, I'll talk to the team about that, make sure that the resources are available. And then, of course, we're going to talk to HSEL offline anyway. So if we need to compile a list of links and a list of things from the chat, we can make sure that's available for you.
Definitely. Your company offers less cost compared to Play Versus. This is nice. I agree. It is nice. That's all I'm going to say about that. One thing that Shima already talked about this, the one pass for a student lets you play all of the games. And that does set us apart from the main competitor in the space. So
I am putting my Meet link in the chat too as well. If you want to book a time with me right now over the next 3 weeks, go ahead and click on that link, and my schedule will open up. Go ahead and pick a time that I have available, and we can talk a little bit more about what esports can look like at your school. Lots of exciting opportunities to talk about. Who knows, maybe the time we talk, I might have some new things I can tell you about, which is really great. I'd love to take you more into the LMS platform too and show you a little bit more of what it would be like as far as the student and the teacher experience on that platform. Like I said, it's a wonderful, wonderful tool, and all of the content there that you can use for your teams to really bring their skill level up so they can really feel like they're competitive machines out there in the space.
I'll shamelessly plug the BSN side too. We actually do help with lab branding. So outside of any hardware that HSEL or we do not offer, we also help with the lab branding, chairs, lighting, things like that. So feel free to also blow me up on my email that I have up in the chat. If you have questions about that, I can steer you to a consultant that can help you design that.
Absolutely.
Great.
Guys, having the kids feel like they're part of something larger is where BSN can really, really help promote a team with their jerseys and all of the branding that they can help you with. Like, it makes a kid feel empowered when they can walk into an esports program and feel like, wow, this is real. Check out our awesome jerseys, and it really does wonderful things, I think, for their well-being and inclusion on that campus. So we're appreciative of BSN and being a partner with us on this, and we love the stuff that you guys are doing too. Super cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Shima and Michael. We really appreciate it. And yes, we will have the recording in the chat sent out to everyone.
Excellent. Excellent.
if there's nothing else, we hope everyone has a great day. Thank you so much for joining today, and we hope you got a ton out of it.
Thank you all.
Thank you all so much for being here.
Oh, deadline to sign up. There's no deadline to sign up for the esports competition, but for the lab, it's the end of this month. Yep. So yeah, somebody asked
anytime.
That. Slideshow, we'll share that out, I imagine.
Book a time with me. I'll make sure I definitely give it to you. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Take care.